biggest one-season wonders in NFL history. I can't think of any of them top of my head right now. Well, I know one of them was Steve Slaton.
History. These guys looked like they were going to be the next big thing, but for one reason or another, they ended up falling off just 1 year after breaking out. We're starting it off today with Ajayi, who broke out in the 2016 season with the Miami Dolphins.
I remember Ajayi, bro. One of the best bros I've ever seen in the NFL.
Coming into this season, nobody really knew who Ajayi was.
Bag.
Didn't even begin with him being the starting running back. Despite this, it didn't take him long at all to take over the starting role, and he proved that he was more than deserving of the spot. Ajayi finished that year with 1,272 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground, along with pulling in 27 receptions for 151 yards. This ended up earning him a spot in the Pro Bowl, and his best game of that season came in week number 6 when the Dolphins took on the Steelers.
Oh, I seen the video. I want to watch it, bro. Hold on. It was a video every quarterback that scored 7 touchdowns in the game. And I just want to watch that video simply just to make sure that my team ain't one of the teams that got 7 touchdowns scored on them. It's in reactions. I just pray that my team ain't on that motherfucking list, boy. I'm going to find it.
Ajayi finished that day with 204 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground on 25 carries, and he was a big reason that the Dolphins won that game by a final score of 30-15. Now, the Dolphins would meet up with the Steelers yet again, this time in the wild card round, and Ajayi was unable to replicate his regular season performance. He was kept in check, only rushing for 33 yards on 16 carries, and the Dolphins were sent home, losing by a final score of 30-12. Now, Ajayi was traded from the Dolphins to the Eagles in the middle of the following season, where he spent almost the entirety of his remaining time in the league fighting different injuries and not securing the starting role. Now, let's move on to another player who looked like they were going to be an absolute stud in the league for many years to come, Josh Gordon.
I don't think Josh Gordon was a one-hit wonder. Now, I feel like he had a couple of seasons.
Now, Josh Gordon established himself as one of the league's top talents at the wide receiver position in the 2013 season. His season got off to a slow start after Gordon was suspended for the first 2 games of the season for a violation of the league's
1K for like 4 years.
policy.
So see, now this video don't make sense.
Despite this, he was still able to finish with 87 receptions, 1,646 yards, and 9 touchdowns in only 14 games.
God damn, that was cooking.
He led the league in receiving yards while also making the Pro Bowl and All-Pro first team. Not only that, but Gordon also made history this season when he became the only player in NFL history to ever have back-to-back 200-plus receiving yard games. The first game
what teams are those?
Ever
Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. Couldn't be my team.
Have back-to-back 200-plus receiving yard games. The first game of this historic streak came against the Steelers, where he went for 14 catches, 237 yards, and a touchdown, even though the Cleveland Browns had to bring in 2 different quarterbacks during that game, Jason Campbell and Brandon Weeden. Even with Gordon's elite performance, the Browns still came up short in that game, losing 27-11.
How do you lose that
After
game?
that historic 2013 season from him, Gordon's career was derailed due to constant substance abuse suspensions, missing 10 games the following season due to suspension. Then he was suspended for the entirety of the 2015 season, along with entering rehab during 2016 and missing that whole season also. By the time he returned to the league, things were just not the same for Gordon. I'm sorry to do it to you Cleveland Browns fans, but we got 2 more players.
Okay, thank you.
95 just resubscribed for 26 months.
I appreciate you. The 2 Cleveland Browns, one of them is Peyton Hillis. I don't know who the second one is. I do not know.
From your team. All right, we're going to stay in Cleveland here with Peyton Hillis at the running back position.
Oh, Derek Anderson, mother.
54-yard, 1 touchdown season with the Denver Broncos the previous season on just 13 attempts. Nobody could have predicted what he had in store for his first year with the Browns. He had a very up and down season, but when he had things going his way, Hillis,
even though Trent Richardson rookie year did look decent, it wasn't the craziest.
Was a dangerous.
It looked promising.
He finished that year with 1,177
Richmond's on the
yards
Colts.
and
No, he got
11
traded to the
touchdowns,
Colts.
while catching 61 passes for 477 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. His best game of the season came in Week 9 against the Patriots. Hillis finished that matchup with 184 yards and 2 touchdowns on 29 carries in a 34-14 win.
And Madden had the nerves to put this on the cover of the game after 1 year.
This season put Hillis.
Well, even though what you know what it was, that's when they did the fan vote. So I gotta give credit. It was a fan vote. It was
on the map and even earned him a spot as the cover athlete of Madden 12. However, he was yet another example of the Madden curse and suffered a hamstring injury the following season. Following this injury, Hillis was not the same player and was not talked about much until January of 2023. In active heroism, he saved his son and niece from drowning after they were stuck in a rip current. Hillis was left in critical condition following this incident, but luckily, he made a full recovery. I told you, Cleveland fans, one more, and then we're done for a while, okay? Gary Barnidge.
Who the f*** is that?
Tight end for the Browns. He was in the league for 6 years prior to the 2015 season, and in 2014, Barnidge only had 13 catches for 156 yards. However, he went off in 2015. Barnidge finished that year with 79 catches for 1,043 yards and 9 touchdowns. And while you might be thinking, okay, that's not the best year I've ever heard, well, it was for Gary Barnidge. It was a standalone season for him. This earned himself the first Pro Bowl appearance of his career at the age of 30. Shockingly, Barnidge was only in the league for 1 season after the best year of his entire career. He decided to retire following the 2016 season.
Yo, hey, the 49ers got a linebacker. He was so nice, but he retired because he got a concussion. Who is that linebacker? That was a beast, bro. I think he had 1 year.
The sources seem to believe that he made this decision due to his body being so worn down and getting multiple concussions throughout his NFL career. All right, let's move away from the Browns here, like I promised, to the Rams. Zac Stacy was drafted in the 5th round.
Oh my God, I remember Zac Stacy. Yo, this went viral for doing some crazy.
24 just subscribed.
Hey, K-Shell, appreciate you for the goddamn welcome, brand new 2-1 song.
With the 160th overall
Patrick Willis, hell no, Patrick Willis, Hall of Famer.
Pick of the 2013 NFL Draft. Despite this, he proved himself as a very talented back in his rookie season. Stacy being a 5th pick, though, it did take him some time to get a chance to take over as the team's starting running back. However, he finally got his shot in week number 5. And
why you in here again? Storytelling.
Stacy finished that season with 973 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground, along with 26 receptions for 141 yards and a touchdown as a pass catcher. His best game of the 2013 season came in week number 9 when the Rams took on the Titans. Stacy finished that game with 127 yards and 2 touchdowns to go along with it. Despite his dominant performance on the ground, this is yet another situation where their team lost by a final score of 28-21. Shockingly, even with Stacy's impressive rookie season, he returned to his role as a backup fairly quickly, was out of the league just 2 years after his hit season. I want to stick around at the running back position with this next player. In 2004, Nick Goings went from being a player who only started in 4 games total in 3 years to a very running back.
This is like when they be having the movie stars on the game.
It took some time before he got a chance to.
Come on, bro. This look like he on. What's that show with Derwin? Yo, no, what's that? What the is it? The Game?
Take over that starting spot, but once he did, he went on a good run. Although he only started in 8 games that season, he still ran for 821 yards and 6 touchdowns.
What's he keep, bro? Why is he on this video with 800 yards? I'm being honest. So come on, bro.
While pulling in 45 passes for 394 yards and a touchdown. Although 821 yards might not seem like a lot for a running back, this was the only time throughout his career that Goings ran for even over 200. His best game of that season came in week number 11 when Goings' Carolina Panthers took on the Arizona Cardinals. He finished that game with 121 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground on his 22 attempts. He played a big role in Carolina's 35-10 blowout win that week, but even with the crazy tear throughout the second half of that season, Goings returned to a backup role the following year. chance to start in just one more game the next 4 seasons combined. All right, this next player was very unique in comparison to these other guys on the list. McClain had his one-hit wonder season in 2008.
I remember
The
McClain.
previous year, he only had 8 rushing attempts the entire season, but after being given a much bigger role in 2008, he proved that he could be a talented starter when given the opportunity. McClain was listed as a fullback, and it's rare for them to get so many attempts in one season, but for the Ravens, Willis McGahee was facing a bunch of different injuries, and Ray Rice wasn't quite ready to be the starting running back in his rookie season, so McClain stepped up in a huge way when they needed him. He finished that 2008 season with 902 yards and 10 touchdowns on 232 carries. This earned him
damn, for a fullback?
spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro First Team. His strongest showing of the entire year came in Week 16 when the Ravens took on the Cowboys. McClain finished the matchup with 139 yards and a touchdown on the day.
Don't play
Production you almost never see from a fullback. He also gained close to 60% of his total rushing yards that day on a late fourth quarter touchdown. McClain broke loose on an 82-yard run with right around 1 minute left in the game, ultimately sealing the victory for the Ravens. While McClain made a return to the Pro Bowl and earned himself a spot in the All-Pro second team the following season, his role went back to primarily being a blocker rather than the rushing threat that he was in
Rusty would never.
2008. In 2009, he went from 232 carries to 46, 902 yards to 180, and 11 total touchdowns to just 2. Even though he played another 5 years following his one-hit wonder season, he was never able to come close to his 2008 numbers, although he was a good blocker. Now let's move on to Lamont Jordan, who spent the first 4 seasons of his career as the backup running back for the New York Jets. He signed with the Oakland Raiders and immediately took over as the team's top back, starting in all 14 games that he played in. In his bigger role, Jordan was finally able to break out and prove himself as a starting caliber running back. He finished the season with 1,025 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground, along with 70 receptions for 563 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Jordan's best game of that season came in week number 7 when the Raiders took on the Bills. He torched the Bills for 122 yards and 3 touchdowns on 28 attempts. His elite
couldn't be my team.
Effort on the ground played a huge role in Oakland's crushing 38-17 win. It appeared that the Raiders had found something special in Jordan as he entered the 2006 season as their starting running back. However, around the halfway point of the year, he suffered an MCL tear that completely derailed his promising career. One more running back here, and then we're going to shift our focus to some quarterbacks finally. Ladell Betts entered the 2006 season with only 2 starts under his belt in the previous 4 years.
Yo, get some quarterback one season wonders. I seen somebody say Brock Osweiler. I can't remember if Brock just had an amazing season. I feel like Brock, niggas wanted him just because of his goddamn intangibles. Tim Tebow, I wouldn't even say Tim Tebow because Tim Tebow's stats was shit, but he did win the playoff game. His play was absolutely ass. It was garbage, bro. Case Keenum, man, Case Keenum had a couple of decent seasons for Houston. But that Viking season, he was cooking. Kyle Orton, Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez had 2 years, I believe. Oh, Robert Griffin. Yeah. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz. Yo, that nigga Carson Wentz was almost an MVP, bro. Like, niggas won't forget that season. Before he got hurt, this nigga was leading the league in MVP. And then it was over. Ain't never been the same.
With the Washington Redskins. Despite this, he had a real shot to take over as the team's starting running back. The only reason for this was because Clinton Portis suffered an injury in the preseason and wasn't fully healthy.
Let's show Nick Foles.
Portis was just coming off a
Nick Foles might be the greatest season one I've ever seen.
Season where he ran for 1,516 yards, so there is no doubt that he would have been the full-time starter if he was healthy. Nonetheless, Betts was given a real chance and finished the season totaling 1,154
the coach
yards
was never
and 4
good, but he balled
on the ground, along with 53 receptions for
Blake
445
had a good year
and a touchdown through the air. His best game of that season came 445 yards and a touchdown through the air.
This nigga had some cool numbers.
His best game of that season came in week number 13 when Washington took on the Atlanta Falcons. They relied heavily on Betts as he finished the day with 155 yards and a touchdown.
Hey, cornerback. I feel like low key, I know he had solid seasons for Jacksonville. Ajayi, the cornerback. Bro, that one season in Houston, he looked elite. Got a contract, never played the same. Scammed the shit out of Jacksonville.
On 28
Scammed
carries.
them niggas.
But all that work was
Scammed
not
them
enough
niggas,
for the
bro.
Redskins to pull out a win, and they were defeated by a final score of
I was sick when he left.
24-14. Betts only started in 3 more games during his final 4 years in the league, and he never came close to touching those 2006 numbers. This was because once Clinton Portis was back and healthy,
Get the fuck out
he
the way,
never
nigga.
gave
That's
up
what
role to
that's what
Betts
that
again.
means.
I did
Clint
promise a few quarterbacks, so let's start off with Derek Anderson. He entered the 2007 season after struggling throughout his rookie
Damn, nigga, this is 4 Browns.
season the year prior. However, as we know, it's a rare case in
me
recent
see this
history
numbers
that the
look like.
Cleveland Browns were able to make it through an entire season without benching their starting quarterback. 2007, it did not take long when Anderson earned the starting spot in just week number 2. He went on to have a very strong season, finishing the year out with 3,787 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, and 19 interceptions.
This the 1 year? That motherfucker was turning that ball over.
While completing 56.5%
This the 1 year?
of his passes. Along with this, he led Cleveland to a 10-5 record as their starter. This was a huge turnaround,
10-5 though, come on.
which helped him earn the Most Improved
10-5,
Player
I'm
award
with it.
and a spot in the Pro Bowl. Anderson's best game of that breakout season came in his first start of the year, actually, in week number 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. He finished the game with 328 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Oh my
Along
God.
with this, he only threw 1 interception and completed 20 of his 33 pass attempts.
Damn, nigga!
This game was an absolute shootout, but Anderson handled the pressure very well to keep up with Cincinnati's
Right the
offense
shit out
like
of
a
them.
seasoned veteran. He led the
CJ Stroud should be on the list. You a hating ass nigga. You ain't gonna get nowhere in life doing that. You better break that cycle.
Browns to a
Better break that cycle.
51-45 win, and it's no doubt that he stepped up his game in a big way to secure that season starting role. Anderson spent over a decade in the league before his eventual retirement following the 2018 season, but he was
13
never able
seasons?
to put together a season that came anywhere close to that 2007 campaign. Following a strong end to the 1988 season, Majkowski entered the 1989 season as the
Man, they don't make names like this no more. This motherfucker's a quarterback named Majkowski.
starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. He had a season to remember when he threw for 4,318 yards and 27
shit.
touchdowns, along with completing 353 of his 599 pass attempts. He did end up
What's the
throwing 20
percentage
interceptions, but Majkowski led the league in pass attempts, pass completions, and passing yards, while leading the Packers to a 10-6 overall record. This earned himself a spot in the Pro Bowl and on the All-Pro second team. His best game of that season came in Week 2 when Green Bay took on the New Orleans Saints. This was a high-scoring matchup
Damn,
that came
Saints.
right down to the wire.
Y'all nigga let Majkowski get his bag off on you.
Majkowski put on a masterful performance where he threw for 354
He said,
yards,
"Bitch."
3 touchdowns, and 1 interception with an
Oh, Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn. Thank you so much, boy. You know ball. Matt Flynn is a 1-year wonder, and he scammed niggas after that. You know ball.
incredible completion percentage of 78.13%. Due to this elite
Kevin
showing,
Cobb?
the Packers came out by a
Absolutely,
final
W.
score of 35-34. Injuries brought Majkowski's career to a screeching halt, though, with him suffering a shoulder injury in the 1990 season,
one game winner?
hamstring injury
I
in
thought it was a year.
1991, and a torn ligament in his ankle in the 92 season. After these 3 injury-riddled years, he served mainly as a backup for the remainder of his career. Despite being drafted in the 4th round with the 127th overall pick of the 1999 NFL Draft by the Denver Broncos, Olandis Gary made a name for himself in just his rookie
What's
season.
that?
Gary did not see the field until
thought we was
about
done
week
running
4
back.
of the season when legendary Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis suffered a torn ACL and MCL, ending his season. While it's almost impossible to replace a player like Davis, Gary did an incredible job in filling in the huge hole that was left in this offense. He finished the season with 1,159 yards and 7
Russell
touchdowns
not a Hall
on
of
the
Famer. You
ground.
feel? I don't know why you think
His
that.
strongest performance came in week number 9 when the Broncos took on
real?
the Chargers. Gary finished that game with 108 yards and 2 touchdowns on 30 carries. He played a key role in Denver's dominant 33-17 win. Even with a promising start to his career in his rookie year, Gary slipped down the depth chart in 2000.
Golden Tate, man. Golden Tate might be the worst teammate of all time, man. I heard that nigga fuck Russell Wilson's ex-wife. Bitch, I'm your quarterback and you fucking my wife, nigga? Bitch, I will beat the shit out you.
And only got a chance to start in 4 games his remaining 5 years in the league. Olandis Gary was not the only player who had a breakout season in 1999, though. The Carolina Panthers wide receiver Patrick Jeffers also had a year to remember. After only being given the chance to start in 1 game his previous 3 years in the league, Jeffers went on to start 10 of his 15 games.
Look at the receivers they used to start back then. Look at this nigga.
He finished that season with 63 receptions for 1,082 yards and 12 touchdowns. This crushed his previous career high of 18 catches, 330 yards, and 2 touchdowns that he just set the year prior. Jeffers' best game of the 1999 season came in Week 17 when the Panthers took on the Saints. In this matchup,
come on, Saints! Another one!
Pulled in 7 passes for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Come on now.
The Panthers took this game in dominant fashion with the score at 45-13 when the final whistle sounded. However, in the second week of the 2000 preseason, Jeffers' promising
he got in his bag on y'all, man.
Run would come to an end. He missed the entirety of the year due to a torn ACL and only played 1 season following his return to action. Steve Slaton was drafted in the 3rd.
This is close to home. God. Yo, real shit. If this dude didn't fail, this some butterfly effect shit. If he didn't have a fumbling problem year 2, we may have never known who Aaron Foster was. Real shit. Bro, we drafted this nigga. Early draft pick. He comes rookie year. Well, I won't say dominate, but have a amazing rookie year. Amazing rookie year. The next year, nigga, he could not hold on to the ball. And I remember being a kid watching this shit. Come on, Steve Slaton. Come on. He dropped the ball, man. God dang, Steve. Then Aaron Foster came in. Bro. Fuck, who is that? Who the hell is that? But also too though, another thing though, Aaron Foster came in, and I used to be like, bro, Dolo, his high school, they must whoop your ass. When Aaron Foster came in, I'm gonna be honest, I was hating at first. I'm like, man, get this nigga out of here, bro. I still believe in Steve. It took Aaron Foster 3 games to make me stop saying that. Boy, Aaron Foster came and started cooking. I said, oh, nah, Steve, you done. This nigga went from starting to returning punts.
3rd round with the 89th overall pick of the 2008 NFL Draft by the Houston Texans. And it only took 1 week for Slaton to prove himself worthy of being the team's starter and took over the starting running back role in just the 2nd game of the season. Once he was given this role, he did not look back. He finished the rookie campaign with 1,282 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground, along with 50 receptions for 377 yards and a touchdown. Slaton's best game of the season came in Week 13, where the Texans took on the Jaguars. He finished that contest with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns on 21 carries. Slaton played a huge part in Houston's dominant 30-17 win. But very similarly to the last couple of people we mentioned, Slaton's career was derailed due to injuries in the following season. He suffered a neck injury that led to him losing feeling in his arm. As a result of this, he became a liability due to his constant fumbling.
I'm about to say, also too, you gotta bring up them fumbles. Them fumbles, it was bad.
Had this injury never occurred, he could have been a truly special running back for the Texans.
I gotta see how many years.
Another running back that
yo, like, it was bad, bro. You Slaton. Boom. Let's go over to, they got his career stats. What year? Yo, who was that? Hey, yo, T-Rock! Yo, appreciate what a big goddamn 5 get the subs game. Thank you so fucking much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nigga, is this Rusty Jones? That nigga look like Rusty. First year, in the first year, 16 games, he had 9 touchdowns, 2 fumbles. He only lost 1 of them. The next year, in 11 games, he had 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 fumbles. He lost 3 of them. They had enough of that nigga. If I go to the game logs, bro, them fumbles, they was going back to back to back games. Like, it was bad, bro.
Exploded during his rookie season was Ickey Woods, who was drafted in the second round with the
fucking Ickey Shuffle?
31st overall pick by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 1988 NFL Draft. Even though he played the fullback position, Woods showed that he was more than capable as a ball carrier, finishing that year with 1,066 yards and 15 touchdowns on the ground. This earned himself a spot on the All-Pro second team. Along with this, he became a household name with his notorious Ickey Shuffle celebration. His best game of that season came in Week 14 when the Bengals took on the Chargers. Woods finished the matchup with 141 yards and 2 touchdowns on 19 carries.
Damn.
It appeared that he was well on his way to NFL stardom too. However, he tore his ACL the following season. This forced him to fight to even get his starting spot back, let alone see the same rushing volume that he did in his rookie season. Now, rounding off this list is Tim Tebow.
You got my nigga on here, bro. You got my nigga on here, bro. His stats weren't even good, though, bro. Like, I just feel like he shouldn't be on here, bro. He played ass. But they was winning. They won enough games.
Coming into the league, he was regarded as one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football history. However, after a rough rookie season, many speculated that his game was not going to translate to the NFL level. He did his best to silence the growing amount of doubters that he had with his breakout season in 2011. He finished that year throwing for 1,729 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
Come on, bro. Them is not great numbers. Niggas do that in 6 games. He did it in 16.
His best game came in Week 13 when the Broncos took on the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings, y'all let this nigga get his back up on y'all.
Despite only throwing 15 passes, Tim Tebow still finished that game with 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. In the 11 games that he started in, he led the Broncos to a 7-4 record and a trip to the playoffs. In the team's wildcard matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the most notorious play of Tebow's NFL career occurred. In overtime, he sealed the game with an 80-yard touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas.
RP Thomas. Yo, man, I'm still waiting for a play to be as surprising and exciting as this play. I don't think nothing will. Because, like, you had to be in the moment to know, throughout Tebow's entire season, yeah, his numbers don't look the worst. Everyone kept talking about how shit he is, bro. The Minnesota Miracle, yo, the Minnesota Miracle is crazy. I understand, but no, for me, it adds to everyone knew how shit he was, bro. And yeah, his numbers looked okay, but like, no, his accuracy, the way he was throwing the ball over niggas' heads, underthrowing, it was fucking terrible. So when they got to overtime, you was like, how they gonna win this game? Nigga, first play
Apollo
overtime.
93 cheered Dex 100. No defense players on here cause Jadeveon Clowney should be on here. Fuck
saying?
nigga.
Hell no. Clowney was a solid. Clowney in the NFL, especially after last season. Clowney just had a good year last year. You're bugging the fuck out. Clowney has never been good at getting sacks in the NFL, but he has always from day one been a solid run stopper. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, though, first play, the nigga does this.
In overtime, he sealed the game with an 80-yard touchdown pass to Demaryius Thomas.
Game!
Rest in peace, by the way. While Denver would get beat by New England in the divisional round, it appeared that this was a promising sign of things to come for Tebow. However, the Broncos did not see much potential in him and traded him to the...
I'm about to say, them niggas got rid of him like the next year. No one thought he was going to have a better year than this again. We all knew in the moment. Yeah, boy, you better capitalize off this because this is not going to happen again.
Jets. Tebow played his final year in the league the following season, only serving as the Jets starter in just 2 of the 12 games that he played for them. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see a part 2 to NFL one-hit wonders, just let me know in the comment section.
It's good to go down memory lane, man.